Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Okay, so I've been struggling with making this video for a while. I had like the worst luck making it when it came to background content, so I'm doing it right here out in the menu. So a lot of people know that wars are a critical part of the end game. And as a result, when it comes to the difference between skill and exploits and all of these things, a lot of people are going to use every exploit they can to win a war. However, when it comes to certain aspects of the gaming, like overloading an area with the members from your alliance so that a war will only have a positive effect on you, like healing people who are outside of the war. People have started doing that there in the game, and it's not really a nice thing to do, but it does have a negative impact where you have a alliance of 500 people versus an alliance of 50 members who are there for the fight, and all of a sudden, when it's 50 versus 50, it's actually 50 versus 400 because everybody else is just running a healing staff using the basic methods. So you just see a ton of instant casts on the members, and they're just getting healed non-stop. Now they don't have to run a healing line in their formation, and it gives them more DPS, more tank, whatever they need on that line to hold out the war. And this exploit being used was a dirty trick, but you know what? You can't really call it a dirty trick, considering that it was an open part of the game that New World couldn't really sort out. So yeah, it was one of the methods in which people cheated with when they found out about it. I actually started to use the exploit for fun in duels. When I know I'm in a team with people and they're dueling 1v1, I'll just keep healing them with the Q trick, and it makes the duel unfair to the one side. Now, moving on from this, other things happened beyond this year. Eventually, it came down to a section where when you were playing 1v1, that's alliance versus alliance, because of the open nature of wars where you can use other factions to hold up your claim, it ended up becoming the super elite version play. So multiple companies get together. They actually one company stretching 5 to 600 players, and they get together and they form this alliance. And all of a sudden, everything is being held by one team basically. And every time they have a war, the same group shows up to every war and they just win every battle. Now, the reason why they're winning every battle is obviously because they're that well suited to battling. But the thing is, it's not the same for everybody on a server. Where you have a server of 1,200, 1,500 people, a 400 man team has a massive advantage. Add to the fact that there's another 2 to 300 people on their side in the same faction. 2 to 300 plus 400 is 6 to 700 out of 1,500. They're more than 50% of the population. Now, yes, it is a fine way to go for the breakup of the way things are working, but it makes things a little bit more difficult. Challenging regions, any party except for the party that's trying to hold power cannot oppose. So, for example, on my server, Syndicate is ruler. Because of an overwhelming disparity between the faction balances, they can almost take on any war they want with them taking the lead. Yes, they have been losing against one or two groups, and when they win against a group who is hard to beat, they employ lag tactics to win it. Now, lag tactics are something which people will use whenever they can't beat another enemy. And one of the lag tactics that I know that's being used is flooding servers, which is one of the reasons why they closed the transfers from server to server. People will jump an entire alliance or several alliances over to a server over a certain period of time. So every 15 minutes, 100 people jump over so that the war cannot occur. And this year forces a lag out of the war, and it forces the victory to go to the team who holds the territory. And obviously, there are ways to overshoot it, and that would be for a person to actually go to Amazon headquarters and use an Amazon Direct connection. Now, obviously, that is a ridiculous thing to suggest anybody doing, but Amazon Direct connection is the only way to overrule this type of crazy lag. Now, obviously, restricting transfers is something they can do. They can make a ridiculously expensive item for you to use on transferring a server, something that takes a month or two to actually save up for. So, a transfer orb or faction point transfer system where you have to contribute a crazy amount of faction points, 100,000, maybe 200,000. It means there is a heavy grind before you can jump from server to server and have it with a cooldown. So you can't go and use that method of jumping a server to lock it up. Now, this is one of the things that has been going on within New World. Now, you will notice that there is a double release of videos at this point. This video has taken me 3 days to try and flush out, and that's because I was trying to do it a lot more diplomatically than the way I'm doing it right now. Now, with these lag out tactics and things being employed, it's because people want to have complete dominance of servers. I know there are several servers which are all yellow, all purple, all green, and once they have this dominance, they want to keep control permanently. They don't want you to fight them, they don't want you to be able to come back. They want to be the wealthy party, and when they can't beat you fair and square and they know that you are that dangerous, they resort to the lag tactics like I was showing. There are other ways to force lag tactics into a game, especially one with crafting. Um, I'm not sure if the exploit is 100% as it's being explained, but you gather up a massive amount of resources. The amount of resources that's being gathered from some people saying in the figures of 2 to 3 days worth of gathering materials are all put in one person's hands, and they force them to actually refine it in that area close to the wartime. This causes the fort and the citadel and everything to start lagging. It causes teleports to get you glitched into rocks and glitched into items. Obviously, this isn't 100% a foolproof plan. Some people will get through all this lag with a high enough connection speed, but nonetheless, this happens, and the server itself is put under heavy strain. Leading up to the war, the server gets extremely laggy, and even with severe amounts of connection speed, example, I can barely sit on during some connection periods with a 14 megabyte per second connection speed. You don't get connection because the server is strained. It needs to reduce its number of players. Now, there are ways around it. Amazon would definitely have a network expert or two actually working on it. And the whole answer is to actually isolate wars and invasions from the map. Now, how would you go about doing that? Well, it's quite simple. You'd actually go about taking the war off the main server. And that will mean that people will have to transfer out of the server for wars and invasions into a sub server. Now, yes, it is an expense on the side of Amazon. It is an expense they can afford to actually boot for this game, but will they do it? That is the question. If they do end up taking it on, it will make wars a lot simpler. It will mean that the standard lag tactics can't work. Having access players help you win a war isn't going to be something to use. Having exploits uh, that help you in other ways. Example, like I said, with the whole DPS or tank story, you can have access tanks around who put on that defensive line around them. And when you put on the defensive line, anybody who is associated with you can get a buff. So if you make sure that the alliances are well uh, constructed in the way that you're using them, you can use that exploit to win. It is cheating. There is no question about it, but it's because of the way in which the wars are structured that this type of cheating can occur. Holding on to territories is something that is doable because they can't just lag you out and force you out of the territory. They can always use dirty tactics to outflank you and try to outplay you. Smart movements from alliances to fortify the cities before wars or aggressively sort it out so that wars have a different impact for the way that players are going to play will definitely make things viably different. And forcing the fort to be a little bit more fortified with better structures for defense will definitely impact the ability of enemies to actually force their way in and take over points. Now, all of this being said, these are options against people who are cheating, and even with cheating, you can't fail to take the advancement when you're attacking the city. Defense is very easy to cheat in. Offense is very difficult to cheat in, and that's the reality behind the entire situation. I hope that you do enjoy the content that comes out from my channel, and I hope that these problems are sorted in the future. So see you all in the next one, and hopefully it will be a nice, fun-filled content piece. I wanted to show you the worst expedition I ever was in. However, I think it's better for the sake of the names of the people involved to not be shown on any type of footage. It was the most selfish fight I'd ever seen, and I hope that you don't play your expeditions in that way. We had a guy who claimed he was the best DPS, underleveled, underpowered, and he was playing a DPS heal build. So he only healed himself and he only used individual castings, and he caused the aggro to go crazy. Because obviously, using a heal plus a DPS build, you have a high aggro ability. So he pulled the aggro to himself. It caused us to have turmoil when it came to fighting. The bosses are being pulled in different directions. The mobs are being pulled around. He doesn't have enough tankiness to hold up against the fight. And with me trying to assist him, even with the rest of the members trying to assist him, things just fell apart. We tried different tactics to try and sort it out in the end. Everybody started playing very selfishly at one point, and I just left the dungeon because there was no way that I was going to sit in that expedition inside that dungeon where I'm literally losing my gear every 2 or 3 turns because I have to take on most of the DPS, most of the defense. I had to act as the healer as well. Another crazy thing that happened there. Sorry about adding that to the back of the video. Catch you all in the next one. Have a good day.